Welcome back. If you aren't new, welcome to the channel. If you are new, as you guys saw in the title and also the thumbnail, we will be removing the power steering pump and also the reservoir. This is my first time removing a power steering pump on this car. Should be pretty straightforward. Not sure. Doesn't really have too much things online about how to remove it. The M119 engine, they have different types of power steering pumps, I guess, from what I saw. So as you can see though, the car is covered in snow. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean this all off. So then that way we can be able to open the hood, and I'll show you guys what we have to remove. Got everything cleaned off. So why are we removing this power steering pump? Because it is leaking pretty badly. As you can see, it's dripping. So we're gonna remove this bracket that the power steering pump goes onto, as you can see there. So it's one bolt here, another bolt there. I'm not sure where the other bolts are, but we also have to remove this hose. Probably not gonna drain. Well, I'll probably have to drain the power steering fluid in here. We're gonna replace that hose as well. I can't find an OEM hose, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure it, order that hose up from Amazon or something. Yeah, she's pretty low, and that's because she's actively leaking. So which isn't good, but it's okay, because once we rebuild it, we'll be good to go. So it is at the minimum, as you guys can see here, even when I just put it in there real quick. So that's what we have to deal with now. So we're gonna get this pump removed, we're gonna get that fluid out, and it should be a pretty simple day. Turn you guys back on. We are going to remove the pulley first. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove these bolts. This pulley freely spins, so then that way we can, you know, get to them real easily. So once I remove this pulley that is connected to the power steering pump, then it'll give me better access to remove the mounting bolts for the bracket. So that's what we have going on now. I'm gonna go under the car and show you guys how bad it's leaking. And also you can see how bad this power steering hose is. It was probably going to leak. Who knows when, but it was definitely gonna leak. So as you guys can see there, that is the puddle of power steering fluid that it has now got on the ground. As you can see, it is all over the front subframe. And up there, as you can see, it is leaking pretty bad, and it's an active leak too. So that is all power steering fluid. So once we rebuild this, and I do have a rebuild kit. Sorry, I didn't mention that, but I definitely have a rebuild kit. I didn't want to buy a new pump because it was just out of my price range. So I was lucky enough to find a rebuild kit. I believe it's from the middle there. That part right there looks a little burnt, but I'm not sure. That part right there, I don't know what that really is, but yeah, that's what we're looking like underneath. I was trying to figure out what it was coming from for a couple of months now, but it is the power steering pump. So let's get this pulley removed and let's get this show on the road. All right, turn you guys back on. As you guys can see, the old serpentine belt is on. To get these bolts off, I'm gonna need to put the serpentine belt on, so then that way it'll give me some tension to remove them. So right now I'm going to install a brand new pulley for this bracket right here. It's from this company, INA. They have some good pulleys. Well, they have good reviews on their pulleys. So as you can see, brand new pulley, brand new bearing in it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna install this real quick, so then that way we can be able to put the serpentine belt on and get these pulley bolts loose. Pulley is installed, belt is also installed. Man, that looks amazing in there. What we're gonna do now is we're going to remove these bolts. As you guys can see, this pulley will not move at all whatsoever. We're gonna break these loose. We're not gonna remove the pulley yet until we remove the serpentine belt. And once we do that, we'll be good to go. We now have these bolts loose. I can't really show you, but they are loose. It was way easier to do it that way once the belt is on. So now what we're gonna do, like I said, is we're gonna remove the serpentine belt. As you can see, these bolts are loose. You can see it spinning. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove that pulley, and I'll show you guys what's behind it. All right, turn you guys back on. We have the pulley removed. What I did was I just pried a flathead screwdriver right behind it, and it came out pretty fine. I believe this is all power steering fluid, which is not good at all, obviously, but we already know we have leaks, so we're not tripping about that. But show you guys the little tiny bolts that are on the pulley. So now that this is removed, definitely gonna clean this up before we put it back in. Maybe throw some paint on here, I'm not sure, but this is part of the pump. So these 4 bolts on each side are the pump. What we have to do is I low-key want to remove the whole bracket like I was saying, but I know these two right here, this one and this one, are to hold the actual pump in place. And then there's another one on the right side, I believe, and then there's two in the back. So that's what we have to do. I'll cut you guys back on once I figure it out. All right, turn you guys back on. We are under the car. So power steering pump is right there, and I'm gonna show you the two bolts that we need to remove on the back side. Those two bolts right there to the left are what we need to remove, and then we will be good to go to remove this pump. There also is an electrical, or it's a ground wire actually, I think, that I see right there, that we need to remove as well. Battery is already connected, so we don't have to worry about that there. But man, this thing is leaking pretty bad. So yeah, once we get this pump removed, sealed up, it's going to be so amazing. You guys know how it is with me. I like to, you know, restore everything instead of buying it if I can, brand new. So that's what we have to do now. Pretty tight spot to get these bolts out, but we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna get these removed. I'll cut you guys back on once I get them removed. All right, turn you guys back on. So I had to remove the ground wire with a 10mm bolt. It is located right there. So that bolt right there is a 10mm. That's what you need to remove. Very tight spot. Just get a wrench. Socket wouldn't fit for me, so just get a wrench, loosen that up. This pump is actually pretty loose now. We have to just remove the bolts, as you can hear, and I believe this pump will just come out. I have to still remove the fluid. I haven't removed the fluid because I don't have anything to remove the fluid, but we'll figure that out. All right, cut you guys back on. There is the hard line that I was mentioning. That is, let's see if I can show you guys, right there, right over here. I can't really show you, it's too much of a tight space, but yeah, that's the hard line right there. All right, we are back the next day. When I got a turkey baster, empty bottle of water, or empty water bottle. What we're gonna do is we're gonna extract this power steering fluid out of the reservoir, so then that way, once we take the hose off, it won't leak all crazy. It'll leak a little bit, but as you can see, it's basically moving. What we have to do is also remove that hard line there, remove that bottom bolt, and this thing will come right out. So well, all right, as you guys can see, nothing is coming out. I don't know if this turkey baster isn't long enough, but turn you guys back on once I am able to get that hard line out, and we'll go from there. All right, turn you guys back on. We have the pump kind of like out of its slot right there, as you can see. That end goes into that end right there, slots into place. That way it has a place to hold. This banjo bolt was so hard to get out. What I used was a wrench that is specifically for lines and everything. So what it does is it goes around the actual hard line, and then it goes onto the bolt itself. I tried to get it out with an actual ratchet, but it didn't want to work. So did it with one of these, tapped it with the hammer. I also tapped the ratchets and things with a hammer too as well, but it didn't work. So not too worried about it. It's got loose now, but look at how bad this line is. Let me see if I can show you guys a better look. It is in horrible, horrible, horrible shape. So can't find that OEM. As I mentioned, I'm just gonna measure it, order it up, and then we'll be good to go. All right, turn you guys back on. We had the power steering pump removed. I cut this line like I said. It was very stuck on. Actually, it's still stuck onto the pipe, to the pump. So this is the power steering pump out and removed. It's leaking a little bit, well, a lot of it, since there's no lines in it, but that's what we are looking like. So hopefully we'll be able to clean this up as far as the outside, but I know I'm going to seal it on the inside. The oil, the fluid looks pretty dirty, so it was in need of a change. I'm not really gonna do a flush because, you know, I'm just worried about the pump, you know what I mean? So yeah, so what we got to do now is basically just remove this line right here, and we should be good to go. I'll probably keep that in there for now, actually, until I actually order a new one. But we do have that connector here, or that banjo bolt, covered up pretty good. That way it won't leak all crazy. As you can see, it already leaked down there. So basically done for this video. Make sure you guys drop a like, comment, share, subscribe, turn post notifications on. I will see you guys in the next video. I don't know what the next video is going to be, but it's going to be a banger, so stay tuned. Just be mindful though when you do remove this pump. If that banjo bolt is stuck, try not to hit the radiator hose, because you will have a nightmare with that. But yeah, everything is good to go now. Can't wait to start rebuilding the pump. Probably going to bring that inside, and we're going to do it like that. So stay tuned for the next video.